Welcome back to Podium Esports coverage of the Porsche Club of America Sim Racing Series 5 from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. Chase Plank, the voice of Podium Esports, alongside Taylor Burris and our producer Ryan Bowers. We bring you more action from CTMP. And Taylor, there's sunlight here, no fog for the first time this evening.
Yeah, clear skies pretty much all throughout the track here at Canadian Tire after two dreary-looking racetracks early on for the two races we had previously. But I think this is going to be a nice way to conclude tonight's action here at Canadian Tire with two great races here.
Halfway through the program tonight, this is the club class that you're about to see, presented to you tonight by Michelin. Michelin, a better way forward. Also, we'll remind you, as always, that setups are available to all drivers in PCA Sim Racing, courtesy of our friends at VRS. Open setup series, so you can put whatever setup you want in the cars, but if you just don't want to deal with the building of setups, VRS has you covered, and you can go to virtualracingschool.com to learn more and get involved with their setup processes. A impressive group, I think, across the board, as we will go ahead and bring you the starting grid for tonight's third race of the evening, this club class race presented by Michelin from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Round two for these drivers will begin as such. Rafael Amorim with the top time of 123.761 to take top spot over the winner of race one out at Laguna Seca 1 week ago. Trey Drawhorn out of the Chicago region will start second. Third will be Jean-Paul Leno. He rolls off P3. Stephen Chen begins tonight from fourth. Sean Bidet begins from the fifth position. Sixth will be the 982 of Jared Roadheater. Clifton Lippel rolls off from seventh. Eighth will be Jeff Smith. Sean Murphy and Brett Holmes round out your top 10 on the starting grid.
Robert Cottle will be starting in the 11th position, followed by Rodney Campbell in 12th. Patrick Gill starts in the 13th position with Michael Evans in 14th. Mario Gonzalez will be starting in the 15th position with Klaus Nielsen in 16th. Marco Harris in 17th with Spencer Karate in 18th. 19th is in Michael Patterson, followed by Colin Thomas, your top 20.
21st will be Kevin Douglas. Bruce Robinson rolls off from 22nd. 23rd will be Jake Steinbrink, and Mike Nine rolls off from 24th. 25th will be Andrew Elson. Joe Hansen Gates is 26th. 27th will be Brady McMacken. John Patterson 28th for this, the third race of the evening from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. The 2.459 mile, 3.957 kilometer circuit with 10 turns. We race at the beginning of the morning, just like we did for the first two classes. In soon, it is May 15th, 2020, just after 7 a.m. local time. And the temps are a little bit cooler, 67 degrees Fahrenheit air temp, 68 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, winds out of the northwest at 3 miles an hour. But there is sunlight, would you believe? It was cloudy and it was misty and foggy the first two races. Humidity's down to 73% this time around. So we will see sunlight here in Ontario. It will be very intriguing to see how this race pans out once we get going. But Amorim and Drawhorn will lead us to green, and they will all be chasing Drawhorn and Amorim, who were 1-2 in the club race 1 week ago, Taylor.
They certainly were, and it was a great battle between Amorim and Drawhorn. Of course, every Drawhorn fan was on their feet when Trace finally was able to capture a PCA Sim Racing Series victory last week at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. So we'll have to see if he's able to continue the streak and keep his fans happy here at Canadian Tire.
Coming down the Andretti Straight, this is a little bit smaller grid, that sport grid that we just went through, the longest and the largest of the four. But this group, definitely competitive and definitely ready to put on a show tonight in prime time. And we're glad you're with us, whether or not it's on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or wherever you may be. Glad to have you along for the ride here with PCA Sim Racing as we get set to go to, well, we'll see how far we get before it gets crazy here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But in either case, glad that you're here watching Podium Esports coverage of Porsche Club of America Sim Racing from Ontario. Amorim, Drawhorn, 1-2, ready to go, as is the rest of this field. And they will come through the S's and Get set to get on the loud pedal and go. One more corner here. Big jump here for Amarim, who takes off, and we are underway with the action at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And it was a quick jump for Amarim, who was able to jump ahead of Drawhorn, Jean-Paul Leno, ahead of Sean Benet, as Benet will try to fight back on the inside, but it's a clean start for everybody as they come out of one and head through Clayton Corner for the first time, JP.
Oh, they come through there. A great job. John Paul, though, is having a tough time to get control of his race car as they come up to Quebec Corner, but is able to gain control of it before Sean Benet is able to get around him. As they come out of Quebec, though, it's still Armin still holding a strong lead and pulling away from Trey Drawhorn as they make the run up to Moss.
They continue to carry on for the first time. Amarim Drawhorn well set, but here comes Benet to the inside of Leno, and Leno chops the nose off that 7 machine. Doesn't give him any room to get around, and Leno will hang on to P3. Benet will stay in 4, Chen 5th, Lippel 6th. Everybody just sort of nose to tail. You have to go back to Spencer Karate and Klaus Nielsen, your winner of the Z1 Analytics giveaway tonight. That's your first side-by-side battle in 16th.
A great battle indeed between these drivers in the air. They almost go 3 wide as Colin Thomas in the 230 in that 18th position, trying to gain a little bit of ground, trying to see if he can push his way through, but can't quite make it work as Spencer Karate now dives to the inside of Klaus Nielsen, hits the curve and is able to control his car, but still loses a little bit of time.
Loses that foothold he had on the spot. Nielsen will jump to 16th as Amarim and Drawhorn lead, but I think first good battle should be Leno and Benet. Benet looked to be faster for a good chunk of that lap, and we'll see what he can do when they get to Moss Corner once again.
He's going to see what he can do as they come up through Clayton. There you see Lene get a little bit loose, clipping the grass just a hair, but is able to gain control of his race car up through Quebec, though. Sean Benet putting the pressure on. And there you see Lene get a little bit loose coming off corner exit as Benet looks to the inside. They'll go side by stride as they go underneath the Continental Bridge.
As they take off, and there goes Benet to the inside, trying to match what his brother did. You heard Jensen, we talked about Jensen saying you should see how quick his brother is. This is older brother of Jensen Benet, who took the victory in that sport class not too long ago, and Sean looking to equal what his brother did, and in turn, if Sean could get the win, first time in the history of PCA that we will have had brothers win races on the same night in 2 separate classes. So a lot for Sean to race here. He too also out of the Lincoln Trail region of the PCA. Started some racing last year and managed to get a few rookie wins in class in season 4, but moved up here to the club class following his strong run in season 4 with the GTA. He's a big believer in practice make perfect, and a big believer in the 918 Spider and that Salzburg paint livery. That's his favorite Porsche, and fittingly enough, you know what he also said, Taylor?
You tell there, James.
You think Sean's fast? Wait till you see his brother. So, obviously, a lot of respect for the speed on both sides, and definitely a racy household, no doubt. Plenty of speed, too, as Benet has already got Leno by about a second and is pretty much dead even with Drawhorn and Amarim on lap times. Those two pacing this field, but it's that trio at the front of all this.
Yeah, a great run for Sean Benet as he is trying to close in to Trey Drawhorn and Rafael Amin as they go down the Andretti straightaway, though. It's still a lot of time. A lot can happen between now and then, as we saw in the previous 2 other races where issues and conflicts can arise. Of course, now it's a little bit more of a sun track on the track, so there's a lot more visibility for these drivers to see, but that doesn't mean issues can arise for these drivers. We'll have to see what will happen when they get to lap traffic later in tonight's race.
Trouble for Klaus Nielsen, the winner of our Z1 Analytics package. He got into trouble, and I suppose he'll have some time to work with the Z1 Analyzer application that is aimed at improving the most important part of the car, the driver. The Z1 Analyzer provides a lap overview, driving line analysis, braking analysis, and turn analysis, so you can quickly find out where you can improve your lap times and consistency. Get into the winner's circle more often with the Z1 Analyzer and Dashboard. And visit z1dashboard.com for more information. Klaus is from the Lone Star region and racing in tonight's Club Class event presented by Michelin, and he's the winner of tonight's Z1 Analyzer software package as part of PCA Sim Racing's EDE program. If you log on to PCASimRacing.com/EDE, you can sign up for coaching regardless of what skill level you sit at, whether or not you're a novice, entry-level racer, or the most advanced driver in the pro class. There's something for you in the EDE program, but if you sign up at PCASimRacing.com/EDE, you may win next week's Z1 Analyzer software gift pack. So keep your eyes peeled on the website as Amarine and Drawhorn and Benet have separated themselves. It is a solid 2.2 seconds from Benet back to Stephen Chen in fourth, who himself is on his own little island. And then you get back to Clifton Lippel and Jean-Paul Lano, and that's really where the battles start to go. Lano, Rodeheaver, Smith, Holmes, and Campbell from 6th to 10th, all within maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds tops.
Yeah, a great battle indeed. You have about 6 cars under a blanket right now as they come through turn number 1, hugging that inside group before they wash up a little bit just to get ready for Clayton and Quebec as they go downhill. Both the cars, all you see, just trying to hug that inside line as best they can. Don't want to wash out towards the grass and end up in the wall like we've seen so many drivers happen here tonight. Now making the run up through Quebec corner, everybody keeping their pace up to speed with everyone else, building that momentum to help propel them around their competitors here as they make the run to Moss.
Make their way up to Moss, and look at Sean Benet. He was faster than both of the leaders that last time by a good margin, too. He had 4/10 on both Amarine and Drawhorn. So Sean Benet is making the charge as they come down the Andretti straight. Right on point with Amarine, who will look back at Drawhorn, who has a rearview mirror completely full of the 7 machine.
He is all over. He looks to the inside of Trey Drawhorn, but Drawhorn tries to pinch him a little bit to keep Benet behind. But I think Benet will be able to make this work once they come out of White's corner. He'll get a great run off there and help propel him to keep him ahead in the battle here for the lead.
They come across lap times one more time, and Benet was yet again faster by a half second this time. Now he's getting even quicker as these tires come up to 10. Though he didn't get the greatest of runs out of turn 1, he'll give up about a car length or 2 to Trey Drawhorn and Rafael Amarine. But we'll keep an eye on Benet and see what he may be up to over the course of the next few laps. So we'll slide a little bit further back, and we'll go see what Stephen Chen is up to. Stephen Chen, plenty of entertainment and fun here, I think, out of the Diablo region of the PCA. And for those unacquainted, Diablo is Oakland, Richmond, Vallejo, California, on the eastern side of San Francisco Bay. Athletics, if you like baseball, are there. Warriors used to be there, NBA champions for a few seasons back in the middle of last decade. Weird to say in that sense, but jumped in and got involved at the start of the pandemic. It seems to be the case with a lot of drivers, and won one of the races during the summer interlude and was second in this class. Got to the B license in iRacing very quickly. Loves the current GT3 991.2 and loves the 993, the 911 Turbo, a dream car growing up, and has no problem getting down and dirty. Loves filleting mechanic with his own cars, and has his own scan tool to be able to reset the service lights on his car because he is that well acquainted with mechanics in real life. So Stephen Chen can probably fix one of these virtual cars up as well as he can the real cars. So just got to plug the numbers in right. And who knows? Maybe there's a bit of a setup line there too in that 8 car.
Most definitely. I mean, he's showing that right now. Running in P4, has basically a front row seat to the top 3, battling it out for the race lead right now as he's getting ready to go underneath the Continental Bridge, but has actually kept a good gap. He's running about 3 seconds back from race leaders and holding about a 3-second lead over Clifton Lippel. So he's just in his own little island, minding his P's and Q's, continuously clicking off laps as we continue racing here, approaching the 30-minute mark, and just really having a clean race early on.
Clifton Lippel with that very orange and yellow machine out of the Peach State region. of the PCA. He's been sim racing for 10 years and was part of season 1 back at the beginning of 2019. He's a very, very, very well involved driver at Road Atlanta, which we'll visit at the end of this month. He's a big, big fan of the GT3R hybrid Porsche bikes, and he's a very, very big fan of the Tide Ride scheme as well. And that's what you see on the broadcast of the 22 machine. It's the Tide Ride with his pug Petra across the hood. So lover of the dogs is Clifton Lipple, lover of the orange and peach state is Clifton Lipple, and pretty quick too, running P5 at the moment.
A great run for him indeed, but he's holding off another couple of hard chargers right now. John Paulinet, who has dropped back a little bit in that purple and yellow car, but as well as Jared Roadheaver as well, sitting in 7th in the 982. He's about a second back right now and has been running very good, consistent lap time, keeping up the pace with the 5th and 6th place.
As we carry on and we work through everything, it is all Amarine, Drawhorn, Benet at the front of this field, then Chen, then Lipple, then Leno, then Roadheaver, Smith, Holmes, and Campbell. Roadheaver, Smith, Holmes, Campbell. That's a good little, I saw it. Quartet as Leno begins to slide off and just leap ahead of the front of the field.
Yeah, I mean, him and Roadheaver him and Lipple have pulled away from these other 4 drivers, but Roadheaver now will be the leader of this group as Jeff Smith and Brett Holmes close that gap as they go through the S's, trying to pick up a little bit of momentum to help propel them out of White's corner and able to continue racing here. But Roadheaver doing a great job keeping Smith and Holmes behind him as they come out of White's down the front straightaway, running very good, consistent lap times amongst themselves. And actually looking at timing and scoring right now, Sean Benet is once again the fastest with a 124 flat as he continues on, but still a great battle for the top 5, or inside the top 10. Everywhere you look, it's a battle in the top 10.
Plenty of battles across the board, plenty of fun to be had here. Good stuff between Jean-Paul Leno and Clifton Lipple for P5 as it stands. So plenty of work, I think, for those two to do. They're all trying to run down Benet, Drawhorn, and Amarine, who have come even closer together as we work our way through this race. Chen's about 3 seconds back of this group, but plenty of fun to be had. Also a good battle between Michael Evans, Sean Murphy, and Mario Gonzalez. 11th, 12th, and 13th. Those 3 all within a second of one another.
Yeah, well, let's go back and look at that battle right now as Mario Gonzalez is sitting in that 13th position, trying to get a little bit of time on Sean Murphy as they go down the Andretti straightaway right now, as we look and see if he's able to utilize the slipstream to help gain a little ground, maybe see if he can sneak to the inside before they get through the S's, but it's not going to be close enough for him as they enter into the braking zone for the S's. They'll then dive to the inside, holding that line as tight as they can to set up for then the next set of apexes in the second half of the S's, as we see Gonzalez gain a little bit of ground before they get to Whites.
We will see how things begin to pan out and see how wild this does or doesn't get. But as it stands, good work across the board as Raphael Amarine and Trey Drawhorn still your race leaders, but Sean Benet really putting the pressure on there over in Quebec corner. Maybe, just maybe, this might be the lap he gets the run down through Moss corner.
He might be able to make it work as they get up to Moss, as we see what will happen. As Sean Benet is actually gaining a little bit more ground on Trey Drawhorn, but it then loses a little bit right there.
Does indeed lose a little bit over the course of that last lap or so as we carry on and work our way through all the action here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, waiting to see who pops out of line next. There are a lot of places where we could see a battle, especially if you start with Jean-Paul Leno, but nothing at this time just yet.
I think everybody's trying to mind their P's and Q's. We haven't even hit the halfway mark yet, so I think everybody's just trying to be patient right now, run their race, focused on trying to click off laps, possibly even save a little fuel, as they probably learned from the last race that fuel might come into play for these drivers here tonight.
Fuel may well come into play. These drivers, I think, are going to have to come in a little bit earlier than you would think. Not necessarily I think what these drivers would have wanted, but just sort of the way that everything works out here and the way that we figure things are going to pan out in tonight's race.
Only time will tell right now as we keep an eye and see as everybody's still running single file throughout the race here today. No major battles or passes for position as we take a look through the field. Even a couple of drivers who have been running pretty much by themselves. Let's take a look a little bit further back around 20. There's actually a pass for the position between Spencer Karate and Brady McMacken. Karate on the inside and his number 50 Porsche Cayman. He will make the pass around Brady McMacken to move him inside the top 20 for the first time tonight.
So Karate up into P20. And McMacken now a little bit further back in this group. He'll slide back into P21. But I think the most impressive thing, you go from Leno all the way back to Gonzalez now. It's within a second for every single one of these cars from 6 back all the way to 13.
Yeah, it's a great battle indeed, and it's pretty much very impressive battles all the way around for these drivers. I mean, everywhere you look, you'll see a battle for position, at least 1 or 2 cars, if not maybe 3 cars within their positions to battle it out here as we continue to wind the laps down at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. And I tell you what, the best probably battle out on the race circuit right now has to be between Trey Drawhorn and Sean Bonet, or Clifton Lipple and Jean-Paul Leno.
Lipple, who cleared Leno and made it happen a few laps ago, and now slides wide over in Quebec corner to try and get the big run off into Moss corner. Here comes Leno looking to the inside road. He's in the mix as well. Jeff Smith is also hunting for a spot. Depending on how this shakes out, they'll come through this corner. Big send there. Rodever had a look on Leno over in the corner. Couldn't quite find the room to make anything happen. Liftold gets sideways just a bit on the beginning of the Andretti straightaway, and now here comes Leno with the big toe down the long straight.
He has a big run right there. That could be critical for Leno to set up as they head into the S's. He'll look to the inside once again as they now get a good toe. He'll still try to slipstream and try to slingshot around Clifton and Lipple. They'll go side by side through the S's. He just gets his nose out, and he will complete the pass over Clifton and Lipple as they come out of the S's into whites.
So Clifton Lipple will slide back, and now here comes Rodever to the inside. Well, and Rodever to pit road. Well, there's an interesting one that I don't necessarily think we expected as we just about hit halfway into tonight's race. But Jared Rodeheaver has come in, and it looks like, if I'm reading that correctly, Rodeheaver's just going to split this race right down the middle and go and do 2 20-minute stints.
He's looking a little bit short possibly. He's around the 22.5-minute mark as he comes down pit road, but is only in there for less than a couple of seconds, about 5.2 seconds actually to be exact. So I hope he has enough fuel to make it to the end.
I think whether or not he has enough fuel isn't going to be a big issue. I would expect he has enough fuel. The question is how that plays out, where that sticks him in relation to the rest of the field, and whether or not he gets caught up behind some of this traffic that you figure he's got pace on, but doesn't have the track position on because they hadn't come in. It's the case right now as he's stuck behind Andrew Elsom out of the Peach region for P15.
Yeah, so he has a long way to go, about 31 seconds back from our race leader, Rafael Armin, who is now having to deal with a new contender in second place as big contact happens between Sean Bonet and Trey Drawhorn now. Little fender bending, little short track style racing here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as they come out of White's corner. Move Sean Bonet, though, up to P2.
Sean Bonet gets it done and is up into second ahead of Trey Drawhorn. So Bonet takes off. Drawhorn back to third. Amarim, on the other hand, is up ahead of this group by about a second. But now Bonet's got the clear track. He's going to start jumping ahead of Trey Drawhorn. He was consistently lapping faster than Drawhorn over that first half of the race. And now the second half of this is going to be all about whether or not that 7 can run down to 395 for the race lead.
Only time will tell right now, but it's going to look like he is closing in. He has dropped it down to about 0.8 of a second, where it was about a second and a half now. So we'll have to see what happens as another driver has come down pit road, Clifton Lipple in his number 22. And I believe Spencer Karate also has come down pit road.
So Karate is in, Lipple is in, Rodeheaver's come in. That trio has decided to split this right down the middle. We're about 30 seconds away from the halfway point in this club class race, which is presented to you tonight by Michelin, a better way forward. I think the key, though, is going to be watching lap times on the 7 and the 25. Now that Benet has the track position on Jawhorn, what can he do, an A lap, or 2 laps, or 3 laps, or 4 laps, or maybe getting the head of Rafael Amarim, who goes off on the grass, and there goes Sean Benet to the race lead right before the halfway point of tonight's race. And now Trey Jawhorn to the inside of Rafael Amarim, fighting for second.
Great battle amongst the top 3 right now as Amarin goes to the battle against one in the inside. Gets a little bit loose, though. Can Trey Jawhorn capitalize on that mistake? The answer will be no, not this time around. Trey Jawhorn back to P3 once again as Amarin tries to hold off second.
So Jawhorn back to P3, but Sean Benet to the race lead. And as he takes the race lead, time for us to bring you your midway race break. Brought to you by Michelin. Michelin, a better way forward. Sean Benet, your race leader, ahead of Rafael Amarim and Trey Jawhorn. Stephen Chen continues to hold 4th. Jean-Paul Leno rides in the 5th position. 6th belongs to Jeff Smith. Brett Holmes is 7th. 8th is Rodney Campbell. And Michael Evans is 9th. 10th belongs to the 20 of Sean Murphy.
Mario Gonzalez sits in 11th, followed by Colin Thomas 12th. Jared Rodeheaver, one of the first drivers to come down pit road, sitting in 13th. Andrew Elsom in 14th with Mike Knighton in 15th. Clifton Lipple, another driver who came to pit road early, currently sits in the 16th position with Joe Hansen Gates in 17th, Spencer Karate 18th, Jake Steinbrink in 19th, and Brady McMacken rounds out your top 20.
21st is Michael Patterson, Robert Cottle, 22nd, 23rd to Bruce Robinson, and 24th to Mark Harris. Patrick Gill, Klaus Nielsen, Kevin Douglas, John Patterson rounding out the 28-car field this evening. And that concludes our midway race break, which is brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward. We'll also remind you that we've got more events coming your way in the world of iRacing this week, and plenty of fun to be had. Sunday night will be our next broadcast. The GameWorks Racing League has its finale from
Phoenix.
Should be a lot of fun. First time we get the crack at Phoenix International Raceway. It should be very exciting to see how that pans out at 8 p.m. on the Podium Esports Twitch channel this Sunday night. If you're looking for a date on the calendar, September 13th. Then Monday night, it's the Sim Racing Shirts 200 at Richmond Raceway for the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series. That too, also on the Podium Esports Twitch channel. And you can see that at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday night, a doubleheader with the Esports Racing League and the Cars Esports Tour. ERL will go from Richmond at 7:30 p.m. on their Twitch channel. Then Podium Esports Twitch channel again is the home for action for the Cars Esports Tour from South Boston Speedway at 9 p.m. Eastern before PCA takes off from Barber Motorsports Park Friday, September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Taking a look at Andrew Elsom, who is in a solid battle with, looks like that may well be, you can take a look here. I think that actually, if my math reads correctly, is Mark Harris. So you've got Elsom and Harris that are running together, even though Harris lap down in 24th, Elsom in 13th, trying to run down Mike Knighton, his fellow Peach Stater, in the 12th position.
Yeah, a great battle indeed for those drivers right now as we keep an eye and see, can Elsom catch up to his Peach State rival Mike Knighton, who is running a very consistent run here tonight at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. I consider Mike be one of those consistent drivers, clean and green, Mr. Consistency, as he works his way up through the field right now after starting 24th, has gained 12 spots since the drop of the green flag and is now trying to see if he can find a way to catch up to Mario Gonzalez.
Knighton's there. Elsom just behind him. Originally hails from London, but is about as old guard in PCA Sim Racing as it gets, even though he'll slide off the racetrack just a little bit and make a small error to allow Rodeheaver to get past him and slide in behind Hansen Gates. But he was one of the very first that was in with Doug Atkinson, with Jim Hemming, with Mike Knighton. That group part of the major brain trust that started PCA Sim Racing at the national level last year. Peach State region also had their own sim racing league before the National League. And maybe incidentally and not surprisingly, when they raced during the summer break, you want to take a guess where Elsom got his first victory?
I would guess probably since we're talking Peach State, Road Atlanta.
You are correct for $1,000, Mr. Burris. Congratulations. Big fan of the 917K is Andrew, and his daily driver, incidentally, also a 718 GT4 Cayman. So he'll know this car very, very, very well. And putting together a good run in the 15th position. Very impressive for Andrew Elsom. As Mike Nyden, we call him a teammate for all intents and purposes, but Nyden will come down to pit road for service.
So we're starting to see some of our drivers that are towards the back half of, or front half of the top 20 come down pit road to see it get service required on their race cars. A couple of drivers who include Michael Patterson, Robert Cottle, and Mike Nyden is currently finishing up his pit stop, as he has a little bit of a ways to go on pit exit. 6.1 pit stop. Currently the fastest pit stop goes to Jared Rodeheaver with a 5.2 second pit stop. So great run for him so far, as he is currently sitting in that 12th position just behind Clifton Lippel.
And remember that Rodeheaver was the first one to come down pit road amongst everybody in the field. He was the first one to split this up. So looks like that strategy may well be paying dividends for the 982 machine, who currently runs in 12th.
Well, James, we got to go up to the front of the field because Benet has taken over the race lead right now. Sean Benet has checked out in front of Rafael Almirin and Trey Drawhorn to about a 1.8 second lead over the rest of the field, as he is working his way out of Quebec corner and pulling away. A great run for Sean Benet, and could possibly be a night of the Benets, as they may sweep their races this week.
Don't look now, but Sean Benet's out ahead by almost 2 seconds on Rafael Almirin and Trey Drawhorn, who has been hounding the 25 since Sean Benet got around both of them, but to no avail yet. The good battles in this group. Jeff Smith and Brett Holmes nose to tail in 6th and 7th. Sean Murphy, Andrew Elson, Johansson Gates also in a pretty good group. But most of these drivers very well spread out at this point because of pit stops. We don't have the chains that we had earlier in this race, and don't necessarily have drivers fighting over top of one another.
No, they do not. Everybody's kind of minding their P's and Q's right now, just trying to bring it home in one piece and possibly be ready for pit stops here momentarily. So currently right now, Rodney Campbell in his number 62 has made the most recent pit stop, as the rest of the top 10 from 9th on up have yet to make a pit stop. So we'll have to see when they will come down. Currently, the top 4 have not decided to come down pit road, neither John Paul Linné or Jeff Smith. I want to see if Michael Evans or Mario Gonzalez decide to come down pit road this time around. The answer will be no for Evans, but Gonzalez, he will come down pit road from 9th.
So Mario Gonzalez is the next to make his pit stop, and that will leave Michael Evans as the last car out there amongst the top 8 who is yet to come down pit road. You would figure that he would be next. Then Brett Holmes, Jet Smith, Jean-Paul Leno, Stephen Chin, Trey
Drawhorn is currently sitting 3rd position.
No, it's opposite day. It's Dre Drawhorn. Have you not figured that one out yet? Jeez, come on now, Taylor.
Oh, I figured it out, but I figured you were struggling a little bit with that last little bit. So
I know. I was just gonna have some fun with it, but I guess the fun police are out today. I see, Taylor. Gee,
goodness gracious.
So we'll see how things go here amongst these final call it 8-9 folks. We'll wait to see what Evans does. Brett Holmes, Jeff Smith, Leno, Chin, Drawhorn, Almirin, Benet. But those first 4 have been pretty well locked in over the course of the night. But now they change. Here comes Almirin down pit road for service. So Trey Drawhorn now up into 2nd. Almirin is the first of your leaders to come in for service.
Let's see how quickly Almirin is going to be on pit road now. That's going to be critical to see what will happen as we wait to see who else will come down pit road. So far, nobody else inside the top 10 have made their way out on pit road. Michael Evans, the last car in the top 10, currently stays out. So Rafael Almirin is still on pit road. Can he maybe at least stay in the top 10? It's a long stop right now. Currently now just finished up 11 seconds. So he currently has to try to hold off a hard-charging Rodney Campbell, who's just came out of white. But I think Almirin will be able to hold on. He will sit in 8th position now.
So Amarine back to 8th. Michael Evans just up the road. But I think most importantly, Amarine came out with a little bit of space. He's got 4 seconds to Michael Evans. He's got a few more to Rodney Campbell. He's got space to run his own time, his own laps. So we're going to make a clean shot at what the Delta looks like once everyone cycles through these pit stops and they come back around and back into order.
We'll have to keep an eye and see what will happen indeed. As we now watch and see when our race leaders are coming up to pit entrance, the answer will be Sean Benet, I believe, will stay out another lap here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as they continue racing forward. And let's see what happens about Lene or Stephen Chen. They'll stay out on the racetrack. Brett Holmes, Jeff Smith, they're going to stay out as well. Michael Evans, currently a little bit further back, so he'll be having plenty of time to determine whether to come down pit road or not.
A lot of drivers taking part in tonight's club class race presented by Michelin. Better way forward. Gives us a chance to talk about Rodney Campbell out of the club class and Rodney out of the Wild Rose region of the PCA, Calgary, Alberta, where he calls home. He too got into sim racing at the beginning of the year and had a lot of fun in the Summer Fun Series. He was second in the sport class there and then jumped up to the club class 4 Series 5. He's got a few wins in A-Class Oval Racing and is a big fan of the 997.2 Targa 911s, that generation from 2009 to 2012. He's a retired mechanical engineer with a whole host of Porsches. He's got a 1999 44 S2 Cabriolet in Alpine White and a 2009 997.2 C4S Cabriolet in Gauze Red. And also served in the Canadian Army for 17 years. So a serviceman, a Porsche man, a good story to Rodney Campbell, who is doing the Wild Rose region proud. Best run I think they've had so far in Series 5, currently running in the 9th position.
A great run indeed as we have another driver come down pit road. That's Trey Drawhorn and Stephen Chen. John Lene will also come down pit road as Jeff Smith and Brett Holmes will stay out. Michael Evans once again now closing in. Will he come down pit road? The answer will be no. He will stay out on the racetrack. So the question will be, will Sean Benet decide to respond now since Drawhorn and his other rival Rafael Armin have made their pit stops?
It's Benet, Jeff Smith, Brett Holmes, Michael Evans with less than 10 minutes to go in this club class race, the third one of the night here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it will be all eyes on Benet, just as it was his brother in the sport class race. We'll keep an eye and see when Benet decides to come down pit road for service as you look at Brett Holmes in the 6 machine.
Brett Holmes doing a great job as he comes out of Moss and still about 2.7 back from Jeff Smith. So he is within striking distance to try to see if he can find a way to catch up and pass that number 16 Porsche Cayman. But still a lot of racing left to go here as Sean Benet comes down pit road this time around in response to Trey Drawhorn as well as Rafael Armin. He currently has about a 24-second lead over Trace and then about a 31-second lead over Rafael. So those are his two drivers that he needs to be in competition with, as Jeff Smith will stay out. Brett Holmes will come down pit road.
Jeff Smith is going to stay out, and I think he's going to assume the race lead for a little bit, and he will. Jeff Smith to the point now as Benet comes down for service, but we'll watch and see where he comes out ahead of Brett Holmes, perhaps ahead of Trey Drawhorn. Drawhorn's going to jump around, and he is just going to miss being behind Benet. It was a good run for Trey, but not enough, as Benet will come out with about 3 seconds to spare. And now the eyes fall on Jeff Smith to see when he comes down. The 46-year-old out of Jeffersonville, Pennsylvania, who has been sim racing for 4 years, been involved with PCA sim racing since season 1, and says, in fairness, it's an accomplishment in and of itself to be a part of PCA sim racing. That alone is very special for Jeff, and did a pretty impressive job climbing through the ranks through the safety rating program. Went from a Class C to a Class A in the span of 3 months, which is not easy to do with these 911, or not easy to do with any car. You have to have some skill to be able to jump up through the ranks that quickly.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It took me, I couldn't even tell you how long it took to get my A license. I still have it, thankfully, but it takes a lot of hard work to get up that class.
We'll keep an eye and see if he comes down pit road this time. Not yet, so he's going to stay out. But he is the chief instructor for the Reason Total region of the PCA. He's a rookie club racer. He's got a 2014 Cayman. That's just his daily driver. 1998 Boxster. I like this. A Cayenne diesel that hauls the Boxster and the Cayman around. So we've got Porsche trucking, I suppose, involved in the moving and transportation of the Porsches that we go racing and have fun with.
Of course, you got to have something to bring your other Porsches to the track.
That plus, if you're going to haul Porsches around in something, would it not make sense to haul those Porsches around with another Porsche? No?
Of course. It would be foolish not to haul them around with anything else.
Anything else? I like that thought exactly. So, and I think the other thing of note, just as we've gone through the night, you begin to see just how familiar this car is to a lot of these drivers because so many of them own Caymans to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very popular car, not just in the world of sports car racing, but as a daily driver for Porsche drivers. I mean, this car, you can recognize it anywhere out there on the road, on the track, time attack, you name it. Most people have actually owned or driven these 714 Porsche Caymans.
Beast of a race car. The Shimon 18 GT4 is Jeff Smith is going to come down this time. Now he'll make his stop. So this is when Jeff Smith will come down pit road, and Sean Benet will, without question, resume the race lead. He's around that final corner now. So it is Sean Benet back to the point. He jumps around Jeff Smith and goes back to P1 with 4 minutes left to go. So just looking at the stopwatch, probably about 2 or 3 laps left in this club class event presented by Michelin.
Now the question is, can Trey Drawhorn find a way to catch up and pass Sean Benet? He currently sits about 2.2 seconds back from Sean as they now come up to Quebec corner, and then about another 6 seconds back, you'll catch up and see Rafael Amrin.
How impressive, how strong, how great a run for Sean Benet tonight, but plenty of, I think, just points we can learn from, plenty of things we can talk about, and it's not necessarily over yet because Trey Drawhorn was even on lap times with Benet that last time by. Yeah,
actually, Rafael Ramin was actually faster than both of the drivers with a 124.66, while Sean Benet and Trey Drawhorn 124.8 and 124.9. So a lot can still happen in the final minutes here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
Then we also need to give a call to Jean-Paul Deneau out of the Mardi Gras region as well. New Orleans is home for him. No surprise there that the big city for the Mardi Gras region. He's been sim racing for 6 years, and this is his first season in at PCA sim racing and already up into the club class. So big time run for Deneau, who claims that he's a middle of the pack driver and would love to get any sort of podium finish, but is appreciative of the fact that he's got a decent amount of skill stacked up against him in this field, plenty of competition to work with, and a slant nose 911 is his Porsche of choice. So we'll keep an eye on Deneau as we see how the rest of this race pans out. But as they come around the corner, looks like we're going to have maybe 1.5 laps left, and Trey Drawhorn was faster than Benet that last time by. I wonder if the fuel might make the difference. So Drawhorn is closing, but can he get all of the gap that he needs to get in order to make this work?
He guided in deep into Moss to try to gain a little more time, but he loses it off corner exit right there, but still maintains a 1.5 second gap between him and Sean Benet down the Andretti straightaway. They will go. Can we see Drawhorn go late into the S's to try to gain a little bit more time right now? Now 1.4 seconds separate the two drivers now.
Down the Andretti straightaway they go. Benet and Drawhorn, your leaders here. And maybe another lap in the cards, actually. We might get 2 in. They come across the line here. It's going to be very tight. They're going to come across the line with right about 124 show laps to go. So maybe 2, maybe 1. It will be tight. They just came across the line. We might get another lap in here. So either 1 or 2 laps to go. It just depends on how the clock falls when they come around. We'll wait and see what happens. But not much time left for Drawhorn to make a move if he's going to.
No, not a whole lot, and he's starting to fall back just a tick now. 1.7 seconds separate the two drivers as they come up to Quebec, and Sean Benet is just trying to mind the gap now. He only has about a minute left to go on the clock, and let's see if he's able to hold this line here for the remaining minute as they come underneath the Continental Bridge, possibly for the final time.
Potentially. The last time here as we watch them come through Moss Corner. Trey Drawhorn was again faster than Sean Benet that last time by, but it was only by 1/10. Not much more that Trey Drawhorn, I think, can do. And 30 seconds left on the clock right now. So it could be very close. This could be it. Benet may have one more corner set or one whole lap. Let's see which way the clock falls as they come through the S's. Nothing yet on the clock. No indication that we are done just yet. But A's going to come through the corner. He's going to work it around the straightaway. 6 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and he just got across the line. So one more lap now for Sean Benet. White flag out for the number 7.
Talk about timing. He's got to make one more lap here and try to hang on through Clayton Corner. They will go for the final time. Sean Benet holding the line as best he can, hugging that line actually as they set up for Quebec. But Trey Drawhorn, he gained about 5/10 now, 1.2 in closing.
1.2 seconds down to 1.0 seconds. It was 3/10 last time by, but I think it's going to take a mistake. Drawhorn's faster now, but I don't know if he's got enough time. Could benefit if Benet loses it over Moss Corner, and you saw the big send there from Drawhorn into turn 5. He gained a significant chunk of time. He'll get a little bit of a tow. I think he might just need one more lap, though, unless Benet makes a mistake.
He's got a little bit of help from the slipstream, about 0.7 of a second. You see Sean Benet trying to shake him off a little bit before they get to the S's, but I think he might have enough of a gap to not have to worry about it as they go into the S's for the final time. Drawhorn sends it in there.
Drawhorn sent it in and tried to flash the lights to throw Benet off. 2 more corners here, and Drawhorn's charge will be just a bit too late as Sean Benet will come out of the corner, and he will be 2 for 2 with the Benet brothers. Jensen, the winner in the sport class, and Sean Benet, the winner in the club class. PCA Sim Racing Series 5, Round 2, to the number 7 machine of Sean Benet out of the Lincoln Trail region.
What a great drive indeed for Sean Benet to take home the checkered flag, and another great run for Trey Drawhorn finishing in 2nd. So great racing all throughout the field here tonight.
It is all Sean Benet at the end of the day, and what a big night for those Lincoln Trail brothers who, you think about how nuts it was that Jensen had to get in and practice before Sean did, just with the way that these servers are staggered. So not like Sean could do much to watch Jensen's race, but now I think at some point they're going to have a moment to look back on this and enjoy it. The first time we've had 2 brothers win in 2 separate classes in PCA competition on a single night ever in the history of PCA Sim Racing. A pretty special night for the Benet family at Motorsports tonight.
Going to be celebration here tonight in the Benet household as everyone is certainly excited about this win.
Be very curious to see. You heard in the interview that Jensen said, hey, do you want to talk here at all? Do you want to talk a little bit? And, just made the point ever so slightly. And Sean was in the background but declined and wanted to focus on getting his practice in so he might be in the same spot too. But it has come to fruition as the last few drivers finish off their laps, and as everyone else concludes their race. We'll now take the moment to bring you through the full field rundown and tell you where your favorite driver finished. Sean Benet, your race winner, and it's 2 Benets in 2 races. Atop the leaderboard, Trey Drawhorn comes home 2nd. 3rd is Rafael Amarim. Stephen Chen finishes in 4th. 5th went to Jeff Smith. Brett Holmes was 6th. John Paulino was 7th. 8th went to Rodney Campbell. Clifton Lippel was 9th, and Jared Rodeheaver finished in the 10th position.
11th goes to Michael Evans, followed by Sean Murphy in 12th. Spencer Karate will come home in 13th, followed by Andrew Elsom 14th. Robert Cottle in 15th with Johansson Gates 16th. Mario Gonzalez in 17th with Jake Steinbrink 18th. 19th goes to Michael Patterson, rounding out your top 20, Brady McMacken.
It was Colin Thomas in 21st. 22nd was Mike Nyden. Bruce Robinson finished in 23rd, and 24th was Mark Harris. Patrick Gill was 25th. 26th, Claus Nielsen. Kevin Douglas, 27th, and John Patterson, 28th. As we now bring in Sean Benet. And Sean, same sort of question for you that we asked Jensen a little bit ago. For you, it was all about waiting for your moments to get around Trey Drawhorn. So how did you plot that pass out, and what was your strategy to try and get around the 395?
Well, let me tell you guys, Trey is just one of the best drivers out here. You know, I've learned a lot from his driving style in the last season and the rest of the guys. And really, you just got to be patient and enjoy your time out there. It doesn't really matter what happens at the end of the day, because this is just a lot of fun.
I think we would be remiss not to ask you about how special it is to go to victory lane on the same night as Jensen, and for two brothers to get the job done. I thought it was so fitting that you both said that when you talked to us that if you think that I'm fast, you should see my brother, sort of pointing the fingers at each other Spider-Man style. And yet here we are at the end of your collective nights, and as show it has come to be, you two are the fastest in your respective classes. And it's the first time that two brothers have won in separate classes on the same night in the history of PCA sim racing. I have to believe that's got to be something special for both you and Jensen.
Yeah, I consider it a birthday present. It is my birthday, and I've always thought that, being a 911 baby and connected to Porsche through PCA, that maybe I could have some kind of history-making moment with Porsche. I'm glad I did it with my brother.
You have indeed written your own little chapter and got yourself a ninth birthday present as well. And I know there are plenty of people that you need to thank for tonight. So, Sean, who do you need to send the thank yous to for making it possible?
Definitely my family and my brother. I think that the blowing out the candles on the birthday cake, this was my wish come true. And I want to put out another thank you to a dear friend of ours that unfortunately lost his life racing at Motorsports in 2018, Jeff Green and his family. I just want to thank them. They were a wonderful inspiration for Jensen and myself wanting to get into racing, even on a virtual level.
Plenty of meaning behind this one for you, Sean. Congratulations from all of us at Podium Esports and the PCA, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Barber Motorsports Park.
Thanks.
A big birthday present for Sean Benet, who comes away with victory in Series 5 in the Club Clash, presented by Michelin. A better way forward. And a lot in that interview that I think does nail down the whole idea of the cars not being real, but the racing is. All the inspiration between Jeff and between the birthday and between racing with your brother. Taylor, I don't know if you could ask for much more.
No, certainly you cannot. It provides a lot of great racing action here tonight and a great family racing formula for everyone. We have the Benets going back-to-back wins. I mean, only a few seasons ago, we had the Levetts, a father-son duo, battling it out here on the circuit. So it just shows how close-knit the racing can bring together families in competition. So a great opportunity.
Fantastic opportunity indeed. And that will close out this portion of the broadcast. Our Club Clash presented by Michelin is all wrapped up. One more race to go. The Pros presented by Porsche. So, yet again, now is the time. If you're on YouTube, head down to the bottom left, get down to full screen, hit that blue button with the Sim Racing logo, go back to the main channel page, and be ready to jump to our Pro Clash video for the final race of the night from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. You're watching Podium Esports broadcast at Porsche Club of America Sim Racing, and we'll be right back right after this.